Hello. Welcome to Fat Mascara, a deep look at beauty culture.
A very deep look.
With Jessica Matlin, that's her, and Jennifer Sullivan, that's me.
Hi.
All
right, Jen, what have you been up to? I saw you like a couple of weeks ago at a work dinner, but I haven't seen you in a little bit.
I want to say that was only like 2 weeks ago, but
It was 2 weeks ago, but I feel like time is like fast and slow. It's that weird time.
We had a fabulous time with the team from Vacation Inc., but I've been doing the beauty reporting, but also the nature reporting. If you've been listening, everyone. When Jess isn't on the interview episode, like when I have to do the intro by myself, I'm going to use that time to update everybody on the Morning Doves living.
But wait a second, you're not doing the intro with like Julie or Garrett?
Well, no, for the Wednesday episodes, but then on Fridays, you know.
Oh.
So I'm like, somebody gave me a mic and I am taking over and it's my show now. We're talking about my doves, Waldorf and Statler, though I do appreciate the names.
Why is it named Statler? Why is he named Statler?
So Sally and Sam were the parents. Waldorf and Statler are the babies. They're gray. Okay. They're grumpy. They live on a balcony.
Why are they?
Do you know the reference?
Why are they grumpy?
Oh, just because, like, I don't know, they're baby mourning doves and their heads look all like weird and wobbly with their feathers sticking out. It's the two guys from the Muppets. Remember those Muppet guys?
Yeah.
They just remind me of them. However, I did get listeners did like DM me and write me for names. The honorary mention, Bonnie and Belle, which I was like,
that's really cute. That's really cute.
I have to tell you, they've flown the coop. Wow. Mourning doves pump out their babies and there is no beautiful moment of rearing. And it's like, we made the baby, like in the course of 1 month, I watched The Circle of Life, everyone. It's done. They flew. They're gone. The nest, I went up there and got the empty nest, cleaned it all up. And I'm kind of hoping the mom keeps coming back, Sally. I have a feeling she might have thought that was a really nice place to raise a family and might do it again. And if that's the case, Bonnie and Belle.
Yeah, your area is very conducive to bird rearing. It's very lush. I mean, you've posted photos of the area,
we have
right?
a big garden art balcony that we've like made it lush, but also it's August and September, so like thunderstorms, they stay dry. They're under the overhang of the upstairs neighbors.
So I've been forbidden from talking about the weather on our intro.
I did do that, and here I mentioned a thunderstorm. I broke my own
So
rule.
you're the one who did it. But
it's true.
The weather.
I literally got on the mic and I was like, you can't talk about how hot it is. People are sick of us talking about how hot.
But I only talked about it once, and then I learned that Julie and Garrett are also boring, and they are talking about the weather.
It's not boring. It's just... Anyway, we've broken the seal now.
Okay. No, but the thunderstorms have been insane. So yeah, they need a safe place. So I think it's great that you've started a bird sanctuary. I think that's fantastic. I wish I could, but I live in a rental and I'm not allowed to like breathe in my apartment. So, I can't be building a nest. Anyway.
What have you been up to?
So I'm like scared to talk because I'm like, I feel like anything I say, it's going to end up being like, and then there was a storm. And
then the taxi ride. Remember when you used to, every time when we were in that other studio, I felt like we often talked about what your taxi ride to the studio because it was always an adventure. Jess's adventures in commuting, things happened to you that happened to no one else.
That's when I lived in Chelsea. Because we had a studio that was a block from my 2 blocks from my apartment. That was like the best of times. The one on 8th Avenue, that was the best of times.
But she'd come in all like, you're never going to believe what happened to me. But
yeah, one time I was like chased by like a complete psychopath.
New York's an adventure.
That woman who followed me.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but that one was interesting too.
So last night I had dinner with the team from Fishersund, which we had Fishersund on the podcast once. I think that was a solo interview, but they are this beautiful Icelandic brand. It was created by the family, but the most kind of, I hate saying most well-known because that's like, I don't like to play favorites. One of the key founders also has a very well-known musical group called Sigur Rós. They're all like, this is like the Swiss Family Robinson. Everyone is involved in something. Somebody does the fragrances. Somebody does the labels. Somebody sews
and their dog is named Atlas.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Or maybe I didn't. I forgot. There's a kinship. But it's such a fantastic brand. It's like every brand is like, oh, we're a collective. There's storytelling. This is a whole mood. It's an aesthetic. Like this brand has everything in it. They've got the music. They've got the Icelandic backdrop. They've got the artwork that they make themselves. It's like you cannot invent this. It's all there. So we go out to dinner and then this little small restaurant, and then they want to show fragrances. Now, you can't be spraying fragrances in a little restaurant. One time a brand did that and we got kicked out. So embarrassing. I'm not going to say the brand. But after dinner's over, we go onto the street and they do this smelling session. This is like 9 o'clock.
On the streets of New York.
On the streets of New York. We go to a little table and they're so magical, this brand. It's like they're not putting on a show. This is just who they are. They're like, now close your eyes. And I'm like, all right, I got my purse locked between my knees. Okay, not putting on.
Nobody closes their eyes on the streets of New York City.
Yeah, and they're literally from Iceland. This is like...
Yeah, the crime rate's very low.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, okay. So I'm like, close your eyes, like open your hands. And then there's a poem for each.
I remember, yeah.
For you. And she's like, I mean, I love this, but I'm finding all this completely endearing. I'm saying this is like a really funny story. Like, it was just so wonderful. She's like, now pick a fragrance. And it was so beautiful. It was like intuitive fragrance picking.
Yeah.
So it was like whichever one I picked was like the one that I needed in my soul. We did this game at like 9-something at night. And then there's a man who walks by with the pants down, like the tush hanging.
God.
Yeah, like scratching his head. And I was like, you know, New York is not in a great place right now. It was such a juxtaposition of things happening. I felt guilty because I'm having a fragrance session and it's like everything is topsy-turvy. I felt like it was...
Only to a beauty editor. I feel like that's, classic beauty editor story.
It was it was a classic beauty editor moment, but she took me on a journey to Iceland in the middle of the street in this thick, steamy, sultry night.
It's only fragrance that can really do that.
It was so beautiful. It was one of the best nights of my summer, without fail. So
Wait,
thank you, Fisherson.
Maybe it was the same night I did my fragrance swap, which was the same kind of thing.
Tell us about the fragrance swap, because that sold out.
Yeah, I hosted with Emma, Alex, and Liz a fragrance swap. Sorry if you weren't able to make it. We had to sell tickets just so we could cap the number of people, but you were to bring an almost full bottle of a fragrance that you loved, but you were ready to find something new. So we had about 50 people come, brought their fragrance. And then it was just like a big sniff session where like you'd see who took your fragrance, which was so cool because I saw my fragrance made a new home.
What did you give away?
I gave away an almost full bottle of DS and Durga Black Magenta, which is gorgeous.
I don't see that for you. It's too sweet.
It's a little gourmandy for me. And the guy that took it, I was happy to inform him once I saw him, like, because you put a Post-it note on with your name. And I said, who is this? And I found him. And I told him he had to watch the YouTube movie, the mini documentary that David did about this fragrance. He had no idea. So I gave him. So it was like every time you ran into someone, you didn't have to worry about small talk or being an introvert or any of that. Because like you just started talking about perfume. And perfume people are the best people. They want to enter a world with you. And I thought you and I knew stuff about perfume. Hoo-wee. The attendees were so knowledgeable. To be fair, a bunch of them worked in the fragrance industry and also just happened to love it. But I got some ideas for future podcasts from it and people that are now going to be part of the Fat Mascara fam. So it was really good. But yeah, fragrance will do that, won't it?
Did you see a fragrance that you were like, oh my God, I haven't seen that one in a while?
So Simca, aka Miss Pop Nails,
yes,
she bought it special for the trade-off, her high school favorite fragrance, which was called Halloween. Now, she thinks it's in a purple and silver bottle, and it's quite fruity. I think I insulted her when I likened it to the pink soap you get where you push that little pumper, that like industrial pink soap.
Yeah.
But what I think I was getting at was the high school soap. Yeah, like I was like, there's a youthful quality to it. She said she believes it's from either Brazil or South America, and the Halloween is an interesting translation of the original name of the perfume, which is like spirit something. She's like, I think it got lost in translation. It doesn't look like a Halloween fragrance. It's just called Halloween. And it was such a delight to discover that. So it didn't remind me of my youth, but I just like got it right away. She's like, oh, this was
so
my high school scent. So that was fun too. But yeah, and somebody brought Obsession, the original Obsession, and still had the box. So that was
Wow.
interesting to smell that. I don't think I've smelled that in a minute. Calvin Klein Obsession. It was just really fun. But yeah, I love how fragrance can create that little.
That's so cool.
It's like it just enraptures you in a little space, little bubble, no matter where you are.
Nobody's talking about a concealer for that long. People aren't bonding over concealers.
I hate to say, but you're absolutely right.
primers.
They're not. We have such a special episode. We have a quickie news because then we're doing this fun thing. We started working with Shiseido. Thank you to our sponsor, Shiseido. But Jess and I will talk about a little bit of a backstory for this brand, a product we fell in love with, but how we discovered it. That's right after the news. Couple little newsy items to get into. We'll raise some wands. We won't talk about the weather. You ready? Let's take a quick break and then we'll do this.
All right, we have got a quickie news this week. Lots to get into on this show. It'd be silly if we didn't acknowledge one of the biggest beauty launches in a long time, and in the hair space, which isn't always easy to break through. Blake Brown Beauty.
Also, because it's August, I think it's like not, we had Sacred and Fenty hair earlier in the summer when it was still like spring.
Those were two big launches. I need to acknowledge, those were two really big hair launches.
But Blake Lively did Blake Brown Beauty. Yes.
Okay, so she says she's been working on this for like 7 years or something, a very long time. I don't doubt that she's been approached a long time ago. I'm sure there's maybe like legally or back and forth. I mean, people work on things a very long time. I'm sure she's been ideating, iterating for a very long time. Has it been in development for 7 years? I don't know. It's like when brands say like, the molecule has been worked on for 20 years. Jen, like when you go to a beauty launch, skincare launch, and they're like, it's been incubating and now the Hocus Pocus flower is finally ready to be released into the skincare cream.
Hocus Pocus flower. That actually sounds like a blanche someone could do.
You know what I mean, right?
With extract of Hocus Pocus.
Yeah. I can't take credit for that. My friend Samira says Hocus Pocus for everything.
Good.
And I cry myself laughing every time she says it.
It's good.
I cry. I literally weep. So I don't doubt that she's been working on this for a very long time. I want to just preface this. I do like Blake Lively. I think that there's something that does feel genuinely warm about her and likable and sweet. People really seem to like this person. And her hair is definitely like her hot thing. I do think that there's a little bit, this is what worries me about the line. The bottle shape is very wide. She's a mom. She probably has a lot of bathrooms, but it doesn't feel like very ergonomic.
Yeah.
Right? Like it feels like, doesn't feel livable to me. In my bathroom, I'm fighting for space. I'm fighting for my life there.
I don't have room for a squat honeycomb with a wood ingrained
It's very
on top. Yeah, I hear you. Packaging is important.
The packaging feels a little worrisome. But if you're like a Blake Lively diehard and she's got so many diehards, like so many people who are really like standing for her, they might not care. But for me, I see that packaging and I'm like, where is it? 3 things got to go if I'm going to put that in.
That's a very good point. I actually was talking to another editor about this, and she said the day it came out, she had a bunch of people that follow her on Instagram being like, I'm getting it today. I'm getting it today. I think she has a and maybe those people's bathrooms look like Blake's bathroom. So they have that country, I don't know.
If you live in a city, where is that stuff going? Maybe you have an over-the-head shower rack. I don't know. But
this is the great divider when we understand who is a suburban rural liver in the United States versus
this
city.
Is not a city bathroom. This is not a city bathroom at all. Then, right? Like this is not a metro area bathroom. Second thing is, you pointed this out when we were off air. There's no conditioner, right? That's the key thing, right?
That's her hook because she says nobody uses conditioner, including her. They just use masks as conditioner.
I don't think that's true at all.
I think that's a celebrity who thinks that what their world is the world, right?
Right. So I think 2 things are going to happen. One is she's going to be educating a lot of people. When I say a lot of people, let's just be real. When I say a lot, that's like very like an exaggeration. She's going to be educating her audience who really cares about her product on hair masks. And you're going to see a rise in hair masks from other brands who are now like, oh, we need to make a hair mask if this line does become popular. Like hair masks will be more of a thing. Because most people, I don't have scientific evidence for this, and maybe hair people, like if brands want to come at me and say, that's Jess, you're so wrong. Hair masks are our number one SKU. I just don't think when I talk to my friends who are not beauty people, hair masks are not on their shopping list.
Well, it's also, I think it's very much for one type of hair. She's made this line for people with hair like hers.
Yeah, people hair like her, or like hair mask is for a specific hair type for a specific consumer. It's not for your average person. They're also more expensive.
Wavy, straightish, thick hair.
Or if you have coarse hair, curly hair.
Yeah, if you have textured hair or fine hair, you need conditioner. Maybe with the textured hair with some mask as well. With the fine hair, maybe just the conditioner. But yeah, it's for Blake Browns.
Blake Browns.
Yeah, we'll see. It's a saturated space right now in the celebrity beauty world, but also even in hair care. But it is so niche that I guess people buy based on their hair type. And if you like her aesthetic and have hair like hers, you might be into it. And you have shower space.
The packaging totally took me by surprise. I thought that it was much more kind of country home than I was expecting, because for so long we've been going the way, like OUAI.
Yeah, no, that's too clean and modern. We got to get back to live, laugh, love. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I'm excited to see where this goes. I wish her a lot of success. I do think that she's a nice person.
This is interesting because I was looking into the marketing of some new beauty stuff. And so the Olympics obviously just wrapped. My household has been obsessed. Like every night we turn on, we try not to watch during the day so we can like watch. But the thing that's interesting to me, Jess, is we're not TV watchers. So I never really see
I know,
TV.
this is weird to me.
TV commercials, right? So this was my first time being exposed to the mass TV commercials for beauty products that I haven't seen, because I usually get fed like whatever's on my YouTube or streaming that's like specific to me. So there was one from L'Oreal that I wanted to play for you. Just a little bit of, it's Viola Davis, Helen Mirren, Eva Longoria, all the L'Oreal faces that you know.
Yeah.
And just talking to us about beauty. So I have to just play this for you, and then I want to tell you, I want to see what you think. Okay.
I'm worth it. Those words just get better with age. But do you really understand what that means? I'm worth it is an eye-opener. Permission to be one's true self. To be seen and heard. To aspire to a better life. And express who you are without apology. You have reason and rarity. There is value in each and every one of us. It's the simplest and it's the purest acknowledgement of the fact that I have agency, I have opinions, I have value. I'm worth it is a reminder that the best of...
All right, you get the idea.
Yeah.
Oh, Jess was getting into it. Okay. Thoughts?
I like the orchestral background.
Yes, that does
It's
make it
great
feel
for the
very
Olympics too.
important with a capital I.
Yeah, I like it.
So Eric we have like open concept. He's in the kitchen, he's doing dishes, and this comes
Open
on.
concept.
I'm trying to paint a picture of my apartment for people. Like you can be doing the dishes and also see the TV in the living room and hear it. And he turns off the water and he goes, is this a Jesus commercial? Is this a church commercial? Because there are running right now a lot of commercials as well for like finding church and finding Jesus that like have these like message. I was like, that is so, it's not funny. It's like, it's hilarious, but it's also like, you know what? It could be. The way they're speaking to women, it was like, whatever they want, I want to be proselytized. Give it to me. Like, I felt like I was in like the teachings of the Bible of like all the good stuff of like, you can do, like, take care of others, be what, I was like, it sounds like the freaking 10 Commandments. And then you put Helen Mirren and Viola Davis saying it, forget about it. It is the 10 Commandments. It's basically Moses come down from the mountain to tell me that I'm worth it, you know?
I liked it. I liked the commercial.
I did too, but what it said to me was, wow, beauty has become such a space where like the way we talk about it, it's not like just like, oh, concealer, because it'll help your dark circles. It's like, the point of entry for beauty marketing right now is like, it's going to change your life.
But that's always been their slogan. Because
of course. But just I feel like a lot of beauty brands are doing this more and more, that not just an empowerment message, but a message of like community, a message of betterment, and like say what you will about that, whether that's good or bad for you. I just found it fascinating. 10 years ago, that would not be a beauty commercial. And you know it wouldn't. They'd
don't
say you're
know.
worth it, but then they'd be like, here's the concealer, whatever. No products, no nothing.
But
It
I
was
think
like,
I think that's like Nike. It's like dig deep into your soul. I think brands have to move people. Brands have to. I mean, Apple. That's like
right. But what I'm saying is Apple and Nike, those kind of industries, that was always the case because you were selling that. I think for a long time, beauty just didn't go there because it was like, I'm selling a solution to a problem. I'm selling beauty. I'm selling a beauty standard. And now it's like price of entry is like, you got to sell women on their womanhood, Like I just think it was hilarious that he thought it was for church, not for makeup.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with it.
Agree with their marketing message?
No. I think it's always been about making people feel good and making people. I think it's outdated to be like, see these nails? They took 2 minutes to dry. Like, I think that feels outdated.
It does, but that's what I'm saying. Like, when I started this job 25 years ago, that was not what a beauty commercial looked like. And I just found it fascinating how far we've come that my husband thought it was for church, not a makeup brand.
I get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying.
Also, it just was like, it's very Olympic feeling with the music, and I got very into it. So I wanted to share, and I wanted to see what you thought of it.
I think that people need to feel inspired. I think things need to feel, connected, to your point, community. They need to feel moved.
Are you moved?
I actually did think that commercial was really moving.
Yeah, she's
and I didn't
smiling.
even
She
see the
liked it.
visuals, but hearing those familiar voices, the orchestral music.
I mean, let's be honest. Viola Davis could tell me to do anything. She'd be like, go punch that person in the face. I'd be like, yes, Viola, I will do it. Okay, moving on. I want to go to Science Corner real quick, and then we're going to talk about a little heritage, beauty brands backstory. Okay, Science Corner. Okay. A recent study by Overnight Glasses. This is not a research publication. This isn't in one of my favorite journals or anything. I don't know if you guys know this, but a lot of times to get PR for whatever the brand is, a brand will commission a study it's a real study they've done, but it's really to reach out to editors and journalists and be like, hey, when you're talking about the study, you'll mention our brand. And I'm like, sure, fine, if it's interesting. Well, it was interesting to me because the study they did was looking into complications from plastic surgery. So complication rates, types of complications, recovery times, mortality even. Let's not remember, as we talk about plastic surgery and all of these procedures on this podcast, they are medical procedures and there are risks as well. And I feel like sometimes I even make light of them because I live in this world and forget to warn people of all like side effects and whatever. So I wanted to see if you had an idea what the most dangerous beauty procedure as far as cosmetic surgery is.
The most dangerous side effect?
No, that which surgery has the most complications.
Oh, okay. Off the top of my head, liposuction? Because of all the aggressive movement to get the fat out. Yeah.
So numbers 2, 3, and 4 are thigh lift, Brazilian butt lift, and body lift, which involve a lot of liposuction and also very vascular areas like that. So they can be quite dangerous. In fact, for a thigh lift, the complication rate is 78%. And a butt lift, 38%. So please remember that as you're considering if you're ever thinking about getting any plastic surgery.
Have you ever seen lipo on like a surgery
I've watched
channel?
it happen. It's quite aggressive. Yes.
It's really scary.
Not micro lipo, the real lipo. If it's done by people who know what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't mean to be like sound like
I mean, if you watch an ortho surgery, don't watch it like, they're carpenters of the body. But anyway, none of those are the top. The top was something that I actually talked about while you were on your sabbatical earlier this year. Brennan Kilbane had written a story about this particular surgery, and he talked about it. Eye color change surgery.
Oh,
I'm going to briefly say this. I think it's important for people to know because there's all sorts of new eye color surgeries now in the United States, not just abroad. Complication rate, guys, 92%. 92%. So
don't
as much
do
as
it.
this is,
don't do it, folks. Just don't do it.
I mean, with a lot of these things, you have to weigh the choices yourself, but I thought that rate was, wow, this is not yet one of those surgeries that has been well tested, well vetted. So
it also doesn't need to exist.
I think you could make a case for any of these. Do they need to exist? You know what I mean?
Maybe lipo.
Well, and in fact, on Friday we have an interview that I think will touch on some of the reasons people make choices they might make, like changing their eye color. So
God.
Definitely listen to that.
I just can't. I can't.
I will link to the source of this and some others, so you can look into it. I think it's really helpful too if you're thinking about surgery to see where you stand in the as far as complication rates, which of course you should always talk to your doctor about. I will stop giving my medical disclaimer right now. Let's take a quickie break and then let's dive deep into some beauty heritage and freaking eye cream that I love. Okay. This special segment is presented by Shiseido Ginzo Tokyo and Acast Creative. Okay, I feel like I want to give a title to this. Like, you know how we have new segments all the time? This is going to be like beauty backstory, because there's these brands that you and I love that have such good heritage and such a history. I mean, it's kind of how you fall in love with a brand. Am I right?
It's totally how we fall in love with a brand. You want to hear about like where they came from, what they were born out of, why they exist.
One of those brands for me, and I know for you too, is Shiseido. We both have our own relationship with it. We both came to it in separate ways, which I'm going to tell you my backstory, but I want to hear the first time that you learned about Shiseido. And also then we're going to talk a little science, because you and I have recently fallen in love with one of their iconic products. It's the Benefiance Wrinkle Smoothing Eye Cream. So we'll get into that. But first, how did you learn about Shiseido?
Well, I will say the first time I learned about Shiseido was, and we never talked about this, was through their ads, because they had very cool ads. They're very artful. If you want to look up vintage Shiseido ads, have a looky-loo, because they're absolutely incredible. They really allude to the fact that Shiseido is a brand about artistry. When I say artistry, I don't just mean necessarily makeup artistry. I'm talking about making everything into an art, not just like, we're going to find a solution for your skincare problem. It's a really elegant brand. But my immersion into Shiseido was about 5 years ago. I was very fortunate to go to their labs in Japan for a product launch. We're talking about legacy. Shiseido was born in Japan in 1872. I mean, they go way back. We say companies are old here when they're like 25 years old, we have a big party. No, Shiseido trumps basically all of them. 1872 is a pharmacy. They had a cosmetic shop in Ginza in 1916. They have an R&D facility, research and development facility that's been around for a very long time. And they've launched some of the most legendary skincare, which I know Jen is going to talk about in a moment. And over 150 years later, they have over 2,500 patents, and they've done over 28,000 clinical trials.
My origin story, if you will, with Shiseido is not quite as glamorous, but it does start with education. So that we have in common. So remember in college, I used to work in a beauty retail store. I've told you about this, right?
Yeah.
So one of the lines that we sold was Shiseido. And when you're a salesperson, the educators come and give you a background of the brand so you can sell it better to consumers. So the Shiseido educator comes. First of all, she had the most fabulous skin I've ever seen. And after she explained the brand, sharing some of that heritage and R&D that you just talked about, she gave me a sample of the Benefiance cleansing cream. It was in like a gold tube, and it was like the nicest thing in my vanity for years. I was obsessed with it. But then I graduate from college, I get my first job as a beauty editor. I meet with Shiseido officially the first time as an editor and not as a salesperson. And I learned about the brand, and I told them, this is my favorite product. I love Benefiance. And she's like, you're already using Benefiance? I was like 22. And she's like looking at my skin, asked me some questions. She's like, I think you should be using this instead. So she gave me the deep cleansing foam. I had oily skin at the time. Like, I was using the complete wrong product. It still worked for me because it was fabulous. But I remember thinking, I cannot wait till I graduate from this red and white line to the gold line. You know what I mean?
That's what I think of
fabulous. Yes, line. Benefiance is like the most luxurious, and it does help with aging skin. I'm just going to say it. So cut to just a few months ago, I actually got to meet with Mr. Hideo Hatta, who is Shiseido's Senior Vice President of Blue Sky Innovation. What do you think of that title?
I mean, how do I apply for that job? I have a feeling he's got a few more qualifications than I do, though.
It's not just dreamy. Yes, he's very much a scientist.
I think all the time, but you know.
I know you do. He's the guy who helps come up with the innovations for Shiseido. So one of the reasons I love Shiseido is because, yes, it has all that R&D that you talked about. They really know their science. But there's this cultural heritage. So the ingredients are based in what is Japanese culture. There is rice bran. There is ginseng. In fact, okay, this is the Shiseido Benefiance Wrinkle Smoothing Eye Cream. There's ginseng extract in this. It's used in this eye cream for a very specific reason, because it brightens the skin around your eyes so your dark circles are less noticeable. It's one of those powerful ingredients that's known to reduce inflammation, does other things too, improve your skin tone and texture, also improve circulation. For me, that just means like a week after I started using this, things were just brighter. You know what I mean?
You were cooking. Things were good.
I was cooking. Things were cooking.
I am obsessed with, I'm a texture queen. I love the velvety, buttery, soft consistency. I love when you pat it on. It feels like you are protected. It feels like your skin is nourished. It feels like you're good to go, not for like the next hour, like so many eye creams, but for really the day. So I don't know about you, but I feel like a lot of moisturizers and eye creams, it's a little weak sauce. You know what I mean? So this really feels like you're getting what you paid for. And by the time the day is over, I actually feel like my skin was moisturized in that area. So when you buy a luxury cream, you expect luxury, and this definitely delivers.
You don't want that weak sauce. I know what you
No.
mean about
Yeah,
that weak
yeah.
sauce. I have to add one ingredient that probably is part of the reason why you continue to like it over time as you use it, the collagen boosting peptides. They're those like plumpers. Like it feels cushiony going on, but then the cushion effect lasts, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So Jen, I know you and I have very different skin, but I think we both can agree that this is the one.
I love the fact that we're both using one skincare the same right now because that's just not a usual thing for us. It's really good. If you're interested in trying it, you can find Shiseido Benefiance Wrinkle Smoothing Eye Cream at an Ulta near you. And as a reminder, this special segment was brought to you in partnership with Shiseido Ginza Tokyo and Acast Creative.
All right, everyone, it's Razor Wand time. Right now, we had been asking you guys about products that work better together. Now, Marina from New Mexico has a special combo for us. Hit it, Marina.
Hi, Jess and Jen. This is Marina calling in from New Mexico with a razor wand for my go-to beauty duo. I use this when my skin just needs a little extra zhuzh. I've been super oily. I'm having a breakout. I'm having a bad week. I use the Aztec Secret Indian Health and Beauty Clay as a clay mask. I mix it with some apple cider vinegar water. Leave that on, do the mask. There are peer-reviewed studies that this clay specifically, bentonite clay, it takes out toxins because ions absorb to it. And then to follow up after the clay face treatment, I use the Glow Recipes Watermelon Glow Niacinamide Dewdrops. And so between the healing clay, taking out all of the gunk stuck in my face, all of the oils and dirt, followed up with some niacinamide from Glow. Smells like watermelon. It's a major mood booster. And then I top that off with moisturizer, which not part of the duo, but mine is just the ELF Skin Holy Hydration Moisturizer. And then I go to bed, and when I wake up the next morning, my skin is so much better. And then I feel so much better. But love you guys. Thanks so much. Bye.
Okay, Marina, thank you. I kind of love this homework. I want to keep hearing it. I also love how smart our listeners are. Like, I'm always learning new stuff. So let's keep the dynamic duos going. Do you have a product combo that just works better together? Listen, let's open it up. It doesn't have to be beauty. What if it's like a food thing? What if it's a cleaning thing? You know me and my microfiber cloth with my Mrs. Meyer's? Forget about it. It's like a dream cleaning product together. I just gave you, that was a freebie dynamic duo.
Freebie.
Well, because we just replayed Vanessa Amaro's interview, so I've been thinking about her again. I swear she's like, just like one of those voices in my head, more than I want to admit about. So yeah, call us, 646-481-8182, or you can text us at that number or email a voice memo to info@fatmascara.com. What products do you like anywhere in your house, in your home, in your beauty cabinet, in your car? Who knows? 2 books that you read back to back? I don't know. Dynamic duos, give them to us. Jess.
You want to know what I?
No, I want to hear your regular reason. It's okay if it's not a dynamic duo.
It's not a dynamic duo, but I will say that it plays well with foundation, and this is difficult for blush, okay?
Oh, she's okay, more blush. All right.
It's a blush. It's a blush. I know.
It's a summer of blush for Matlin.
It's a summer of blush. Well, because I need something to pep me up. I need something to look alive. I also feel like this is like the nature of color products, right? But like, I need something that makes my eyes like look a little bit more alive because I don't know, when you're like, don't you feel like you just need to kind of look peppy?
Yeah, we just talked about that when we were talking about Shiseido. Like, it like wakens them back up.
Yeah, you need to look peppy. And this summer, I feel it's a lot of like get up, go, out the door, hit the ground running.
Put your Benefiance eye cream on.
Yes.
Put a little foundation and
I like creamy products in the summer.
Okay.
Because everything kind of is going to smear anyway. So I've got a good smear
Okay. Schmear
this
schmop,
brand would,
schmoo- okay.
Yeah, this brand would not appreciate me saying this is a schmear product, but I'm just calling it as it is. So this is a brand called Studio 10. Now, I learned about this brand. I was in London in this spring, in April, and I met this woman at Beauty Matter. So if you're listening,
At a conference you were.
yeah,
Yes.
at the Beauty Matter conference. So if you're listening, Studio 10, I remember this. This was a really amazing little chance meeting. So Studio 10 has this plumping blush. It's called Plumping Blush Glow Plexion. And I mean, I think you just need one of these for the rest of your life. Sorry, that's probably not what they
It's as large as a foundation jar
and it's
bottle.
not what they're hoping for.
Yeah,
for
I thought you were holding up
replenishment.
a foundation. That is the plumping blush from Studio 10.
But
Go
you just
on.
need one of these. And you take a little bit. I'm doing a demo, which is not helpful for you guys, but Jen is going to narrate. Jen is going to be our witness.
She's pumped her plumping blush onto the back of her hand.
Right. So a little bit. And then you do smile. By the way, I learned that because my eyes are on a close set.
Yeah.
I learned this the other day from the makeup artist Genevieve Herr, Herr.
Yes.
For close set eyes, people, put the blush in the middle, like a smile. Make sure that the blush is kind of where your pupils
Wider
are.
set, yeah.
Wider.
So she placed the dots of blush right under her iris, but then she's blending outwards, not
Outward.
inwards towards her nose.
Yeah, not like two dots in the middle like a Perot clown.
That's so funny. I think I follow the opposite rule because I have wide set eyes. I tend to make my blush
Well,
go
lucky
in
you.
towards my nose more.
Right, for people like me, like close set eyes. Jennifer Aniston also has close set eyes, okay?
Did not know that.
We're going to put the blush on the out, kind of like from the middle of the pupil outward. Do not go close to the inside of the pupil. So we're going to take this blush
But we're on our cheeks. We're not near our
on our
eyes.
cheeks,
Yes.
yeah. And we're going to pat outwards. Now, I don't have a sponge or a brush with me, so I'm just doing it with my hands.
But with Studio 10, you don't need one.
You really don't. And by the way, my mom, she's in her late 70s. I brought this to her house like a month or so ago, and she used it too. And she was like, oh, I like this. This is a plumping blush. It's almost like a foundation kind of formula.
Okay.
It's really creamy.
Not too pigmented either. Like you don't need a whole brush to blend it out.
Exactly. You nailed it. It's not very pigmented. And it kind of gives you it has no sparkle, but it has like a little bit of luminosity to it. And this color, I don't know if they make other colors. I should have looked that up. But it's like it's a little warm, the color. So I'm warning you if you don't like warm.
Okay, and what shade is that?
Yeah, it's Plumping Blush Glow Plexion. By the way, on their site, they have over 1,200 reviews and 5 stars. It's $40. It's the perfect blend of warm orange undertones, brightening pink hues, and light reflecting pearl. So this magic combination gives you a little oomph, and it has this molecule called adaptophil, trademark. So this kind of
Hence the plumping mechanism.
you know those things. You know those
little
things.
built-in skincare love to give
Exactly,
you
a little
plump.
skincare. And you can you can go on the site, they show people doing it so you can see other people's methods. You just tap it on.
Maybe I'll make a video clip of this one so that you can go on Fat Mascara's
Yeah, you can see what I'm
Instagram
doing.
and see Jess tap it on. and
Tap
plump
it
her
on.
cheeks.
And do you see, Jen?
You're quite glowy.
Yeah, it gives you a glow.
This is like back in the day you used to call them desk products. Like you don't really have to think about it. When you need a little zhuzh, you squirt, squirt, plump, plump,
Yeah,
schmear, schmear.
I think it's great. And everything is expensive now. $40, and I'm telling you, I
That's a
cannot.
year's worth of blush.
It's at least a year's worth of blush.
Yeah, lovely.
I love it.
Studio 10. Raise a
Studio
wand.
10. What's up, Jen? What's going on today? What do you
Not
have at your
mind
desk?
meld. Remember we talked about
You're like Studio 20.
No. Remember we talked about Tweezerman did a whole line for pets?
Yeah.
So they sent me, I swear, just in the nick of the time, they sent me the tick tweezer for pets. And little Wolfie came home from our hike
Oh
with
my
a
gosh.
tick on his ear. So I was like, I have just
Thank God
the thing.
you saw it. Were you actively looking for
Yeah, you
ticks?
always check your dogs after a hike. At least you should. And remember, he's pretty much hairless. However, this one was on his ear where he does have hair. So yeah, whenever we're having cuddle time, you're always checking for ticks. But specifically when we come in
they're
from a
so
hike.
hard to find. I'm amazed that you
Especially if your dog has hair. Yeah.
I know that's what's so scary that you were looking for them and lo and behold you found one. Wow.
Yeah. Well, it's usually you feel like you're just rubbing your hands through their fur and you'll feel a little bump. And by that point, the tick's already embedded. But these tweezers, the minute I picked them up, I was like, oh, these are Tweezerman tweezers. They feel quality, and it has a square instead of the usual slant tip like you would for your eyebrow. It has a squared off tip and like sort of a curve so that you can just like sort of scoop it out, just get it right out of there. Did not leave the head behind. Totally fine. Praise the tweezers. Everybody should have a pair of these around and on hand for themselves, but also for a pet if they're like a hiker like me and they're out in the summer. Because a regular tweezer is like a little sharp and might you want to make sure you get all of the tick out. So we did that, and he's just got like a tiny scab. He's fine. Oh, he hears me talking about him.
Did he hurt when, did he yell?
No. And I was thinking about this when I've had ticks. I feel like they do put a little bit of something into your skin so you don't feel as they're going in. So he didn't seem bothered by it all. And I think that's also the reason some people don't find ticks on their animals till much later, because they don't seem to bug the animal that much. But thank you, Tweezerman Pets. Raise a wand to you.
That brand is so good.
Also, you could get them sharpened. Like I keep using mine. Speaking of under consuming, what was the trend that we talked about 2 weeks ago?
Under consumption, or
if you buy a pair of Tweezerman tweezers, that's a lifetime purchase right there. So I'm going to have these for years. Anyway, raise a wand to that.
Raise a wand.
Get your beauty sleep. We have a very interesting interview coming up for you on Friday. We'll
oh my God,
both
this is
be in the studio. And then, get yourself some Shiseido eye cream. Get yourself a pair of tweezers, some glowy blush. Enjoy your beauty sleep.
Night-night. We hope you enjoyed the show.
It's your reviews and feedback that help us make the podcast even better. Head over to iTunes to rate and review us, or email your thoughts to info@fatmascara.com.
We also want to answer your beauty questions and hear what products you love. To share a Raise a Wand product review or to ask a beauty question, email us at info@fatmascara.
If you send it as a voice memo file, we can even share your voice on the podcast. You can also do that by leaving us a voice message. Our phone number in the United States is 646-481-8182.
Thanks so much for listening.